Happening now on Grid Tonight, Cadillac F1 are bringing two veterans on board for year one at the pinnacle of motorsport. Was it the right move to go with Bottas and Perez over a young American driver? Next year, IndyCar will finally have its own video game produced by iRacing. Was this move long overdue, and will it bring new fans to the sport? Rumors are swirling again about Alex Palou making a jump to Formula One. Is there any truth behind the speculation, or is it just a whole bunch of nonsense? Hello to all of our viewers watching here in the United States and around the world. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Kobe Lambeth. With me are Joshua Birch from JB Motors, and welcome back, Matt White from Grid Endurance Performance Index. We encourage everyone to interact with us in the chat, support us through Super Chat, and visit gridnetworktv.com for our latest content. Before we get into tonight's show, I want to remind everyone that, once again, Grid Network will be at the track this weekend at Portland International Raceway. Joe Samaniego will be there covering the NASCAR Xfinity Series race and the ARCA Menard Series West race at Portland International Raceway. So stay tuned for videos later on in the week as, Joe records, and produces some great content. We'll also have a photo gallery up on the website like we did during the IndyCar race weekend just a couple of weeks ago. So looking forward to seeing what Joe gets out there at Portland International Raceway this weekend for NASCAR and ARCA West. And with that said, Josh, take it away with our top story this evening.
Thank you, Kobe. Hello, mate. And Matt, nice to have you back as well. Hope you're doing well. So, yesterday morning, the news that the new Cadillac F1 team has announced its 2026 driver lineup for the American team's debut season in Formula One. Cadillac have decided to prioritize experience for year one by hiring Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez. Bottas, a 10-time Grand Prix winner, is currently serving as the Mercedes F1 team reserve driver after finishing his stint with Kick-Sauber last year. The Finnish racing driver said that from the moment he began talks with Cadillac, this felt different because it's not just a racing project, but a long-term vision that you don't get to be a part of every day by building a program from the ground up. Perez, a 6-time Grand Prix race winner, is spending the 2025 season on the sidelines after Red Bull let him walk after an underperforming, of course, in the second car last season. Checo said he could sense the passion and determination behind this project from initial conversations and feels honoured to be a part of it all. Cadillac praised Bottas and Perez for bringing experience, leadership and technical savvy needed for a new team to find its footing in such a challenging racing series. The graphic here courtesy of Cadillac F1. Worst kept secret for Valtteri Bottas. JT's there as well. I feel bad. I haven't been able to talk to the team a lot today as well. We've been very busy over my side. And yes, there we are. I am alive. Can we have a welfare check as well? Welfare check is because I've been redecorating my room from a bunk bed to a double bed, and I moved a bookshelf. Damon Hill was holding it up. I pulled Damon Hill out, and all it came down right on top of my head with a massive bump on head. So if I'm a little bit dizzy, that's why. So there's the story. Adam says, good evening, everybody. I like the news regarding Cadillac F1, two talented drivers. Yeah, it's been around that Valtteri's going to get that second seat. Sergio was sort of an outside bet, but Kobe, starting with you, did Cadillac F1 make the right decision by signing two experienced drivers who may have something to prove on their return?
Yeah, I think Cadillac did the best that they possibly could, given who's available right now. It's better than choosing two rookies, right? I know they weren't new at the time, but it went terribly bad for Haas, just a few years ago when you had Schumacher and Mazepin. There didn't go well when you had two rookies, but when you have a brand new program like Cadillac, there's a lot of hype in America behind this American-based team. People want to see Cadillac do well, and if you're heading into Formula One with that drivers who don't have Formula One experience, that doesn't sound like a recipe for success. So I think that, Sergio Perez, what happened, at Red Bull, and I know he kind of talked about this, how basically he had to answer questions, to Cadillac about like what on earth happened at Red Bull and how, we appreciate Checo a lot more now, because when you look at how he performed in that second Red Bull car compared to how Liam Lawson did in his couple of races and Yuki Tsunoda, who's been drowning over there this season, like it shows you Sergio Perez was, the closest thing to Max Verstappen that you could possibly get, given what's been going on in that second car. And it's not really, nobody's fault. It's just the fact that car is just built to, Max's strengths. And it's really only one driver in the world who can really drive that car, and that is Max Verstappen. So what happened at the end of his Red Bull tenure, not, an indictment on Sergio Perez as a driver, because we've seen him do great things, in the past, and also earlier in his Red Bull stint when he was able to win with the car. Yeah, so I think it's good to have someone who is, really strong like Sergio Perez. He talked about how he was mentally strong, which helped him get through that time. And on a project like Cadillac, it could go one way. You either hit the ground running, you're doing really well, or it's going to be a complete nightmare and you're at the back of the pack. So if it's the latter, if it's a nightmare, you need someone, who has the mental toughness of Checo to go through those tough times. Because there will be growing pains in this Cadillac project, and I think he's a good fit for that. And also Valtteri Bottas, I'm sure he's really happy to get back on the F1 grid as well, and get involved in this Cadillac project. I think Valtteri's personality will be met with with great reviews from the American racing fans. I know there's this video of him on the water wearing a suit, with the American flag falling in the water. That's got a lot of views on social media. And outside of Valtteri's personality, winning 10 Formula One races, and doing what he's done with Mercedes in the past when he was actually driving for them in full time. He shows what he's capable of. So I think it's a really good thing that Cadillac were able to sign those two drivers, because that experience is going to go a long way as they get up to speed with how the Formula One world works.
Yeah, certainly. Good evening, everybody. They've probably gone for the two best available people, if that makes sense. You think back to when Haas came in their first year, the last American team, when we had Esteban Gutierrez as a rookie and Romain Grosjean as his teammate, didn't really go very well for them. And as you're saying, Kobe, these two guys have both race winners, both championship winners in terms of constructors down the years, especially Valtteri with his Mercedes history there. And yeah, I think they've plumped for the best two guys. I think, as Josh sort of mentioned at the top there, the Bottas thing, we all kind of knew from a long way out when he did that video a couple of months back of someone, look, Valtteri, it's a Cadillac seat. Do you want to sit in it? And he said, well, not yet. So we knew that was probably coming from a way off. And yeah, the Perez thing hasn't really gone away. The only thing is it is a shame that there isn't an American driver as part of the lineup. Maybe that is something to come in the future, because let's face it, Perez probably more than Valtteri, really in the twilight now of his F1 career. What was 2010, 2011 he came in. So it was even before that, wasn't it? So he's only got a couple of years left. You would imagine this is going to be his last contract, however long it goes for, and then they can blood some American driver talent to come in there once Perez retires. But two very experienced and very fast drivers, if they can get a good car under them, of course, with the new regs, it's a full sheet of paper for everybody for next season. Could be the real good thing to have both of those guys as their experience. And of course, they've both gone through the last regulation change with new teams as well.
And all did very well with it as well, so this should be good. I feel like Bottas and Perez is a good idea, will help build the program up into the first year and set the team up. JT has been on about it as well. Coming in, Adam says, could we see Cadillac winning 26? Could happen.
I don't think so, Adam.
A wet race, maybe? Wet race? Could happen.
You'd like to think, wouldn't you, that the beginning of next season would be like the start of 2009.
Yeah.
When we had the huge change, and obviously with Brawn, Toyota was strong in the early part of that year, as with BMW. And we kind of, Ferrari were nowhere for the first part of the year. McLaren were even further disappointing. Remember Lewis Hamilton, I was there. Yeah. 2001 Silverstone, he came 15th. 2 weeks later, he won. So it was a really weird year where we had all manner of teams up and down yo-yoing. I mean, a wet race, somewhere like Suzuka early in the season could have a chance of it being wet. Could happen, but as a straight fight, no, we're not talking about penalty shootouts, Josh. As a straight fight, I would say probably not going to happen.
Can I just point out, I'm very happy because I didn't see the end of the match because I've been very, very busy. But what was it, 3-1, and then it ended up level, and then we went on penalties, and 2-2 we were at the end of it. Okay, Grimsby win 12-11 on penalties. Get in, Grimsby Town beat Manchester United. So it actually works out better because my sister is with a Manchester United Mancunian, and his dad was there as well. So it was very much Grimsby versus Man U, and we won. Yes. How are you feeling, Matt? Are you a Man U supporter? I can't remember.
Yeah, wonderful. Haven't won the league. Out of the Carabao Cup. It's a great start to the season for Manchester.
Sorry. Up the Mariners. We only sing when we're fishing.
Before this turns into soccer chat, there is one less thing United need to worry about because they haven't won in the league so far. So let's put that out the way. We don't need to worry about that, and we move on.
1-0. 1-0. Getting back to Formula One, though, Cadillac is going to do something a bit unusual because the team will operate out of 3 different facilities in Fishers, Indiana, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Silverstone, of course, here in the United Kingdom. So, Matt, off you go. Get down there. This program will be backed by TWG Motorsports and General Motors. Now, lots of American involvement, but no American driver. TWG Motorsports and Cadillac F1 CEO Dan Towers said, Bottas and Perez are builders, collaborators, and professionals who help define what Cadillac F1 stands for. Now, F2 driver Jack Crawford hoped to be in consideration, and there's been some new rumblings about IndyCar driver Colton Herta's F1 ambitions that we will address later on in the show. But Matt, straight back to you on this one as well, as I know you're seething from that great defeat we gave you. Do you look for Cadillac F1 to get an American driver involved in their program, even if it's just a reserve driver role?
Well, surely it won't be long before something happens. And of course, Jack is Aston Martin linked, isn't he? If I remember rightly. So they could always, bring him across and put him in an F2 team again for next season. There's much IndyCar drivers to the F1 paddock chat, which we will come across again in a little while on the show. But yeah, the Colton Herta thing doesn't seem to be disappearing. As we've said before on this program and others, they do need to have someone coming through the ladder system that they can, promote through. After Jack Crawford, I'm struggling to think of anyone else. Ugo Chukwu, of course, is in F3. Would probably be the next one down the pecking order, but hasn't had a great his rookie season, granted, in F3 this year. Hasn't been performing brilliantly. So, back to the old conundrum of a distinct lack of American drivers in the F1 paddock ladder system, which is a bother for them. But different things happening in the IndyCar paddock over the next couple of years, as we'll touch on later, Kobe, that could bring some people across, perhaps.
Yeah, Matt, you're right about Jack Crawford being an Aston Martin race and F1 development driver. And Jack Crawford, to his credit, made a lot of leaps forward this year in Formula 2. We'll see how he's able to do championship-wise as we close out this season. And Dan Towers here to address, this question about the American driver yesterday at the, launch event where they announced Perez and Bottas to Cadillac F1. And Towers, basically saying that the best thing for the team right now are these 2 drivers we have right here. Experience matters right now. And once you build that foundation, then maybe you can, start playing with your driver lineup a little bit and bringing on a young driver, because the infrastructure they have right now is honestly probably, especially being on a new team, is probably not the best thing, for a young driver like a Jack Crawford or for a Colton Herta, if we want to throw him in there. So I really believe that, they're right for bringing, experience right now. But in regards to a young American driver, I think it will happen, at some point in the future. Maybe, maybe Jack Crawford, becomes a Cadillac F1 reserve driver next year. I think that would be great, to get an American involved like that. And also, Cadillac F1, he also used to be Andretti, the Michael Andretti's idea, before he pulled out of that. And Jack Crawford, he's done, Formula E tests with, the Andretti Formula E team. So there's a link there where you could potentially, bring Jack Crawford over, but maybe he'll get an opportunity with Aston Martin, next season. I don't really know what that's going to look like as far as a race seat, but maybe a reserve driver seat if he doesn't do another year of Formula 2. But I think sometimes when it comes to F1 season, it all comes down to timing. Like, you might be coming up at the wrong time, and then, you're out of a seat, and that's why you go sports car racing or IndyCar or Formula E racing, because, it's just the wrong time for you to be coming up. And some drivers come up at the right time, and that's how they get their opportunities. But there's one young American driver that I'm thinking of right now, and I'm going to put us all on the screen for this so you can hear what I'm saying. There's this 16-year-old American driver who was born in St. Petersburg, Florida, to a racing legend that we all love. Dan Weldon's son, Sebastian Weldon. He's an American driver, although born to a British father and American mother. So best of both worlds, from the UK and the United States. And Sebastian Weldon right now, he's currently racing in Europe in Italian Formula 4, I believe. And, he's been backed by Gamebridge. And Gamebridge, is owned by Group 1001. And who is the CEO of that? Dan Towers. So Michael Andretti, before he turned over the program to Dan Towers, he really supported Sebastian and Oliver Weldon's careers. And I would, obviously love to see that continue on into the future. And Sebastian is 16 right now. So, right on the doorstep of, when you would put someone in a Formula 3 car or something like that. Don't really know which route Sebastian's going to go down, if he's going to go to the road to F1 or the road to Indy. I think either or, be perfect for him. But if you're looking for a young American driver to develop, if you're Cadillac, I think you have to keep an eye on young Sebastian Weldon, because I think that's an American driver a lot of people could get behind, and also you guys in the UK as well.
Well, if he wins, he's British. If he loses, he's American.
Hey, that's not fair.
It's the way it works. It's exactly how it works. Yeah.
Just quickly on Crawford before we move on from this sort of segment. Josh, you'll know this from many years of watching GP2, F2. It would all depend if he does another year in F2 next year. If he can find himself in the right team at the right time, that has propelled a lot of people up into a Formula One seat. If he can, I don't know, let's say he goes with Dams, let's say, who I think he's with this year, isn't he, anyway? So if he stays with Dams and suddenly they get a magical setup on their car that propels them back to the front of the field for the full season, he's winning races on a Saturday or a Sunday morning before a Grand Prix, he's definitely going to put himself in the spotlight in front of the F1 teams, and of course with Cadillac being in the paddock there as well.
And the F2 car at the moment is such a wild thing to drive. The engines with the mecharochromes that can cut out randomly. The setup is completely uneven, so it's a wild entry as to whatever you can have. So F2 at the moment is actually, I think, one of the least competitive support series on the paddock. It's unbelievable. Good to see Bottas back in F1. The return of the Finnish mullet as well for Denver says as well. I just can't wait for the calendars to come back out. I've just redecorated the room. I need a nice frame of the lake shot, I think, coming through. I've got a lot of wall now that a bunk bed's gone, so it's blank. It's like I'm living in a prison. I feel like porridge as well. Matt, Fletch. I feel like Fletch. It's just mad coming into it. Do you want to know what I found, by the way? I told you about the Mo Walker book with all his one-liners. Found that today. Yeah. So, finding random things in my room that it's just so much stuff. Motorsport fans are hoarders, aren't they? So let's move on from one of the sort of worst kept secrets in Formula One to the worst kept secrets of the season in NASCAR, because Trackhouse Racing is promoting development driver Connor Zilic to the NASCAR Cup Series full-time in 2026. Now, Zilic was signed to a multi-year deal to replace Daniel Suarez in next year's driver lineup alongside Ross Chastain and Shane Van Gisbergen. Now, with Red Bull and WeatherTech set to be the young phenomenon's primary sponsors. Now, the 19-year-old's path to the Cup Series has been fast-tracked with the latest couple of years. He's been winning the Rolex 24 at Daytona and the 12 Hours of Sebring last year in LMP2, 5 ARCA national races, 2 Truck Series poles, and victory in the Cars Tours. And he's won 7 races this year in the Xfinity Series race. Knocked himself out a couple of times, but still, that's nothing. Zilic said that he's been a dream of his for a long time and understands how difficult it will be making the jump from Xfinity to Cup in 2026. However, he feels the support from Trackhouse and Chevrolet is putting him in the right situation to make the jump now. His car number, crew chief, and additional details will be announced at a later date. The graphic courtesy of Trackhouse Racing. Well, Matt, turn to you on this one as well. Although he's turned into a Saturday superstar as a rookie in the Xfinity Series, do you expect that Zilic's rookie year will be similar to that of Denny Hamlin's, who won 2 races and finished 3rd in the championship, or that of Joey Logano, who got a rain-shortened win and finished 20th in the final standings?
Well, you listed off Connor's list of accomplishments there. He's also a FIA World Karting champion from many years ago. And even more importantly than that, he's won races in Mazda MX-5 Cup, which is the most prestigious award to win. I jest, of course. Is he going to be more like... I'll tell you who he's going to be more like in his rookie season in the Cup. Shane van Gisbergen. Because he has been the only man really in Shane's Xfinity races this year to get anywhere near him and take wins off him. So I feel like it's going to be a success. It's been a bit of a outside of SVG's road course wins. Of course, Chastain won the Coke 600 in May. Been a bit of a fallow period for Trackhouse after, of course, Chastain bursting through a couple of years ago with the whole Hail Melon thing at Martinsville and whatnot. But on the ovals, they haven't gone particularly brilliantly over the last couple of years, and that's been to the detriment at the end of Daniel Suarez losing his seat. I think Zilic would go better over the season span than Suarez has, but he's really going to come to life again when we get to the road courses, because that is more of his background over the journey as opposed to over the last couple of years where it's been more NASCAR based. So, and of course, as we've seen over the last little while in the Xfinity Series, as you say, he's been on an absolute tear through the summer and then almost tore his arm off a couple of weeks ago when he fell off the car at Watkins Glen. So, yeah, it's going to be, he's we've had over the last few years, Chase Elliott come through, go gangbusters, Kyle Larson, of course, in that realm as well. This guy is the next big thing in the Cup Series, and that logo there with Cup Series champion, he's probably going to be not too long before he gets that printed on his overall, I would imagine, if he can string together this kind of run he's been having in Xfinity this season.
He's really going to hoard all the championships of the future, isn't he, as well? Matthew Owen says, I'm begging us all to temper expectations. In his couple of cup races this year, he hasn't been near the front, and he's still driving for a team that hasn't been elite outside of SVG on road courses as well. Very true. We no longer live in a world where huge NXS success leads to immediate cup success. Yeah, but I think Jesse Love's been impressing me this year when he's made a Cup Series starts. He impressed me last weekend at Daytona with a couple of things he was doing. So I'm 50-50.
I think this Zilic is, another level of worldly talent. As soon as he gets, we were all quite excited about him having run at COTA back in the spring. Didn't go well, ended up crashing out. But the few oval runs he's had have been okay. One of them was the Coke 600, which he's never done a race as long as that in the NASCAR world. So going to be it's just going to be interesting. Again, a bit more like SVG. Got to get his wheels rolling on the ovals a bit more and get up to speed. Denver says Zilic deserves to be in a Cup Series, but going to be tough in the first year to be full time. He's got SVG on the road course game and SVG and influence on him already. Yeah, those two are getting on like a house on fire, and now they're going to be teammates, and now they're going to be butting heads on the road courses next year. Get the on.
Wasn't Jesse at Daytona? Where was he a couple of weeks ago? Where was the one just before Daytona?
Richmond.
Was he Richmond? I can't remember seeing him on the timing screen. I kept an eye on him.
Not seen Daytona yet.
It's one of the two. I think it's Richmond. It's Richmond. Yeah, it is Richmond. Excellent. I've just been told in my ear. So, because I couldn't remember. They all blow into one. We had 2 weeks where it was 4 a.m. in the morning. We were just desperately clawing to go back to sleep at the end of it as well.
Week.
Oh.
Sorry to remind you that Darlington's a late one for us Brits.
Is it on a Saturday night or Sunday night?
Sunday.
Oh, my God.
After IndyCar and the Zandvoort Grand Prix.
Real despair. I've got a brand new bed that still isn't up, and I'm not going to get a chance to sleep in it, am I? To be fair, that might work out. The amount of stuff we've got to go through is unbelievable. If anybody wants any Doctor Who annuals from 2006 onwards, let me know, because there are thousands of them.
Josh.
Yeah, slide in the DMs as well. I've just been said, somebody's texting me, is watching, saying that okay, I can't say that one bit on here, but just said that my schedule, I'm going to be dead. I am dead. Yes. I can't actually, unless my family kill me first because the house is a mess. Yes, probably that too. Now, let's move on to some happier news, to which probably won't affect me too much, because nothing in my life is ever as dramatic. For the first time in over 2 decades, the NTT IndyCar Series is set to have its first dedicated video game, which will be developed by iRacing Studios. Yesterday, IndyCar and iRacing announced a long-term licensing agreement for iRacing Studios to produce standalone IndyCar video games on console and PC. Now, in the second half of the 2026, iRacing plans to release its first IndyCar game on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, Steam, and Stream Deck. In recent years, iRacing has gotten experience creating console games as they've had success with the World of Outlaws, dirt racing games, and of course, NASCAR 25 is coming out soon on Tuesday, October 14th. The new IndyCar game will feature a robust, multi-level career mode with licensed drivers from the NTT IndyCar Series and Indy Next, and of course, online multiplayer. Huzzah! IndyCar teams and drivers will be involved in the process of creating the game, as Team Penske's Scott McLaughlin will be leading the efforts from the driver's side. IndyCar president Doug Bowles said that the most competitive and challenging racing on the planet deserves a dedicated and widely available gaming experience. Bowles added that iRacing Studios is an ideal trusted partner known for their core of fans, and the graphic over here, of course, courtesy of IndyCar. This all seems strangely familiar, doesn't it, boys? Because coming off the disappointment of the short-lived partnership with Motorsport Games, how excited are you that iRacing will be creating the first standalone IndyCar game since the mid-2000s?
I think they seem to be the go-to now, don't they, iRacing? They've got their history on PC with all the stuff they've done over the years, and they are sort of the world leader in sim stuff off console. And with NASCAR coming shortly, as you say, Josh, I think we've been pleading for a long while, for an IndyCar game. I remember being the oldest person in this on the air on this show. I think it was like Newman Haas Racing or something from '93 that was on the Mega Drive or Game Boy. Could have even been on the Game Boy because of Nigel Mansell's influence in IndyCar, but all the way back then. But yeah, pleased that this is coming. One thing I'd be wary of is it just going to be like the F1 game every year where it just gets recycled with driver changes and the odd track change? A bit like MotoGP for that instance, where we get a new game every single year with the odd tweak here or there. But excited for the first one because we get to go on, there's a lot of the tracks on the IndyCar schedule that aren't on any other console games.
Yeah,
obviously Laguna Seca's on pretty much everything, but there's places like St. Pete and some of the other street courses, Detroit, the new Detroit, obviously. Maybe they could throw in some historical content. We can have Long Surface Paradise, Cleveland, Vancouver, Denver, all the San Jose from the Champ Car days, as I've got a moth infiltrating the studio.
Hello, you're welcome to my world.
It's a big one. I'll dispense of him in a moment. But yeah, they could go way back and pull cars and drivers and tracks from a huge long list of places that IndyCar have been, Assen, Brands Hatch, all these places, and put it on the game. So the possibilities are endless. But yeah, as we're all excited for NASCAR, let's see how iRacing kind of do with that over the winter once that's out, and then we get this IndyCar game next year. But very exciting, good stuff. There's a lot of downtrodden IndyCar fans, me being one of them. But slowly, it does seem the ship is slightly turning in IndyCar's world.
Yeah, this is super exciting to hear that iRacing is going to be developing the next video game for IndyCar. And like you said, Josh, it's been such a long time since we've had a dedicated IndyCar game. And the last time we had a game, strictly dedicated to IndyCar only, I hadn't even started school yet. I wasn't even in kindergarten. That's how long it's been, and I'm just over halfway to being 30 years old now. So it's just really crazy that I hadn't even started school yet, and that was the last time.
Hang on, we're the same age. Don't give that to me. My God. Oh, I've already had to put up with somebody else saying old this week as well. Oh, my God.
Oh, well, sorry to make you feel old, Judge, but all in all, I think that this is, IndyCar going with iRacing again. It's kind of like a wrong been righted, because you remember the outrage back when they signed the contract with Motorsport Games, and they, then like iRacing, like discontinued their partnership with IndyCar, and then they like removed like all the IndyCar logos on iRacing, and then you no longer had like the official iRacing virtual Indy 500s and stuff like that, and then just left a sour taste, in people's mouths. And then the Motorsport Games, they were able to, get some things done with the game, and then, then the company basically folded, and the IndyCar department got let go. And it was just a complete nightmare. It's crazy how from 2021 to now 2025, all of that's happened. And now it seems like, Doug Bowles and everyone at Penske Entertainment have finally got this, head in the right direction. Looking forward to seeing what this game looks like, in the second half of 2026, which is expected to be released. So I guess around the same time period that the NASCAR game's coming out, and just, October. That's when it's coming out. Looking forward to seeing how NASCAR 25 looks. And that should give us an indication of what to expect with the new IndyCar game. But like you were saying, Matt, I think it would be really cool to, dive into those to the historical, content, like get tracks from back in the day in the game, or maybe, get some of the older Indy cars that you can drive. I think that would be a lot of fun, but I have a feeling for the first game, they're probably not going to go that deep. They're probably just going to try to get the bare bones, of the game, to have something that drives good, looks good, and something that you can have fun with. And instead of a certain game that I'm not going to name, where I had more fun driving behind the wall through the pit area than actually on the racetrack. I'm not going to say the name of that game. I'll let you guys figure out which game I'm talking about there. But I think that this is really, really exciting. And one thing I like to see in this game is an Indy 500 mode. I remember when I played the IndyCar Series game on my old PS2 back in the day, they believe they had, obviously quick race. Then you can I think they had like a championship season mode. I don't remember that career mode back then, but I do remember the Indy 500 mode, where you can, experience the Indy 500 only, where you have the practice days. Then you have, your regular qualifying, and then you're either in the last row shootout, you're locked into a field, or you do bump day. And I know they said they're planning to have licensed IndyCar drivers in there, but, just for the sake of that mode, maybe they throw in, some fantasy drivers. So maybe have 36, 37 cars in entry list and try to lock your way into the Indy 500. I remember playing the old IndyCar game then. They had maybe 40, 41 drivers in there. Don't remember the exact number. And then I remember, trying to bump my way into the field of 33. I remember I qualified 28th one time. It was really nerve-wracking. I think that would be, really cool to introduce that into an Indy 500 only mode. So maybe that's something that they'll look to when they add this game. But all in all, just really excited. Hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. And like you were saying, Matt, I think it would be great, to finally experience some of the tracks, that we've never been able to drive on a video game. Like we've never been able to drive St. Pete before. You mentioned Detroit, I've done Laguna Seca, Indy on other games, obviously. Yeah, done Mid-Ohio on other games, but they Road America's on other games. There's just some tracks out there that we, never even touched on games. So I think that would be really exciting.
I'm going to love this.
Just also remind both of you young'uns here that I am 40 in February. I can see the trophy / achievement list for this game already. Win at all tracks, win the championship, qualify for the Indy 500 through the final 9, get out of the last row shootout for the 500. It's coming together nicely already.
Flip the double bird like willpower.
At New Hampshire, that can be. Yeah, there'll be all sorts of. Hopefully, they can do that kind of historical challenge mode down the years, where you can do certain things with certain drivers from back in the day. We've got so many racing games on the horizon over the next year now. NASCAR, IndyCar. There'll be a new F1 game. There'll be a new MotoGP game. Project Motor Racing, which me and Kobe I know are very excited about. There's the Rennsport game coming out. If you're a gamer, motorsport gamer, it is going to be busy over the next 12 months.
Well, I love the achievement in as well in the new games of IndyCar and NASCAR as well, where you go around at the slowest possible speed. And at the end of it, you get crowned Danica Patrick. So, that works. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good achievement to have as well. Do you know? That was a very good joke, and I will take full credit to that as well. About time IndyCar gets a game. I hope they bring back Legacy IndyCar tracks as a DLC pack. I'd buy it. I can't wait. I hope I get to do some commentary. I think the new JB Sports channel that's coming out should focus on IndyCar leagues as well. It'll be fun. Back in Australia on a video game. Oh yeah, that'll be nice. I actually played it the other day on Toka IndyCar on Surface Paradise. What a circuit! I'm older than all of you. 43 years old. Thank you very much. Yeah, but I've got bad hips and as well, and as today has proved as well, as people have been on FaceTime calls and joined the same thing. I'm old. The mayor's here. We're getting into 500 mode. I'm writing. Matthew, I don't think that's appropriate. The last time an elected government official tried to incite a riot, it
didn't go down well.
Yeah, to quote what you say on air quite a lot, didn't go well as well. Oh dear. So thank you very much for that as well, Matthew Trump. Now, according to, as well, on to our third story of the evening. According to Nathan Brown from the Indy Star, sources told him that Red Bull Racing is interested in signing now four-time NTT IndyCar Series champion Alex Palou as a four-time IndyCar World Champion, Formula One World Champion, Max Verstappen's teammate in 2026. There's too many four-time champions out there. The F1 rumours have been swirling for months during his dominating championship-winning season, despite Palou saying that he's happy to stay where he is in IndyCar. Now, after winning the Indianapolis 500, Palou made comments about the atmosphere in IndyCar, with examples of being more celebratory with the wife of kids, hanging out with peers in the bus, and going to dinner with team mechanics. He was noting the differences in the environment in IndyCar versus the more stricter nature of Formula One. Now, yesterday, Palou told Jenna Fryer from the Associated Press that he hasn't heard from Red Bull, but he heard that this rumour was started by the manager of a rival IndyCar driver who wants to take his seat at Chip Ganassi Racing. Now, he's added that he's not 22 anymore, and with him approaching age 30, he can't be a rookie and ask for 2 more years to learn the tracks and the car because F1 teams need you to start performing immediately. So he doesn't feel like he's missing anything at all in Formula One. Now, his team owner, Chip Ganassi, also dismissed the rumours as clickbait and doesn't seem concerned about losing his star driver to the pinnacle of motorsport. On a separate note, there's more speculation inside the IndyCar paddock that Colton Herta might be on the move to Formula 2 to gain the super license points to eventually join Cadillac F1. The link to these articles is in the video description below, and the photo here taken from Paul Hurley from Penske Entertainment. Kobe, standing with you on this one. It's a bit of a weird one to keep linking these two together when both have said how happy they are in the world of IndyCar. But could you imagine a world where Palou and Verstappen are teammates at Red Bull and that Herta switches to Formula 2 of all places?
I guess at the end of the day, if this reporting is true, and I know Nathan Brown's a really good journalist, I really respect him and all of that, but it just seems kind of odd, doesn't it? Can you imagine Palou and Verstappen being teammates next year? And all I want to know, if this is true, like how much money are they willing to pay Alex Palou? Because if they show up, with multiple trucks of money, it might be enticing, to go for the cash and go to Formula One. For that reason. But being more serious about this subject, I can't imagine Alex Palou, after finally getting settled, his family settled in the Indianapolis area, and winning all these races, and now got 4 IndyCar championships. I find it hard to believe that he'd want to leave this behind, where you can you can be the guy for the next several years, that the guy to beat. You can win a lot more IndyCar races, more Indy 500s, more championships, and you can become, the greatest IndyCar driver of all time, because with everything Alex Palou's accomplished so far and what he could in the future, he very well could be right up there with an AJ Foyt or Mario Andretti at some point, and that would be a great accomplishment. But Formula One, I know, is very enticing to try to go there, and I think it would have to take a special situation. I wonder if this could be the special situation, but then there's a risk with the big regulations change. Who knows where Red Bull is going to be in the pecking order next year, especially since they're going to have the new Ford power unit. We don't really know what type of engine Ford's going to have in its F1 venture and for the next few seasons or so. And also the Red Bull F1 car, you also don't know what that's going to be like. It could be very unpredictable. If it's a car, tailored to Max's liking again, instead of, giving both drivers something that they can drive, it could be a huge mess for Alex Palou. And we know the history, of being teammates with Max Verstappen. It's been a curse for about, for about every single one of the teammates he's ever had. You're a teammate of Verstappen, you get chewed up and spit out. I would hate to see, the same thing happen to Alex Palou. I don't want the same thing that happened to Palou, what happened to Sebastian Bourdais. When Sebastian Bourdais went over to F1, he was one of the kings of IndyCar, one of the best, open wheel racing drivers in North America. Bourdais went to Formula One, it didn't necessarily go as well. And then when he came back to IndyCar, he wasn't able to, rediscover that same dominant form he had before. And I'm afraid the same thing could happen to Palou, where if he went to Red Bull and F1, the team favors Max, and, Max destroys Palou, and then Palou tries to come back, to IndyCar, and then he's not the same guy that he is right now. And that would be, super unfortunate for him. But I honestly think Alex Palou will stay in IndyCar, and he'll stand on what he said before, that, F1 has passed him by, and, just continue building his legacy over here in the States. But who knows, stranger things have happened. And if Palou does go to F1 as a teammate to Max Verstappen, send us hypothetically for now, it would be great to see what he can do at the pinnacle of motorsport. And if he does well, makes IndyCar look good. And if he doesn't, like, oh boy, we have a problem here. And just to touch on the Colton Herta thing, it seemed like this is something we hear, year in and year out with Colton Herta, about him trying to jump over to Formula One. It feels kind of weird that in order to go to F1, you would have to leave the IndyCar Series, then drop down to F2 to try to get there. It would be really interesting, because we've seen, F2 drivers, who come over to IndyCar, they've adapted well to the IndyCar. And I wonder, if you have someone going the other direction, if would an IndyCar driver, be able to adapt to the F2 car? I assume so, since it's worked the other way around. But yeah, it will be very intriguing if, this is the route they wanted to go down. But with Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez holding that seat, I can't imagine they're gonna have one of those drivers for 1 year and then cut them. If hypothetically Colton Herta goes to F2 and gets those necessary super license points, but that would be a lot of pressure on Colton Herta if he was able to go to an F2 team, because you need to expect him to be a contender for the championship in his rookie year to try to get those super license points. And if he goes out there and just lays a goose egg struggling in F2, then that's not going to be a good look at all to a young driver like Colton Herta, who I think his F1 stock has dropped quite a bit in recent years. But then again, I don't think that's necessarily all his fault, because Andretti Global's IndyCar program, across the board is not as strong, as we think it should be. So I feel if Colton Herta was like in a better, IndyCar, maybe we'd see, maybe all the hype that he had, coming a few years ago, would still stand. But I think some of the hype behind Colton Herta to F1 is kind of, died down over time. But if he switches to F2, that would be a massive story.
Just going to check the date. It's the 27th of August. It's 2025, isn't it? It's not 1992, because at the end of 92, or we're talking about how old we were, we go back to F1 in the early 90s. McLaren were up here dominating the sport, slowly trailed off, and then they got an IndyCar guy in 93. Didn't go well. Red Bull have been up here dominating the sport and have started trailing off, and now they might get an IndyCar guy in just as a regulation change. It might not go well. Palou said multiple times that this year, as you mentioned, Josh, he said, he wants to stay in IndyCar. He's found his home now, and he's obviously massively successful. What a run he's been on over the last little while. And he wants to stay. And as Chip Ganassi said this week, he's had the chances to leave and he hasn't gone yet. So
he tried.
He tried. He did try, and then he was talked out of it. So I can't see this happening. It's one of those dream scenarios, isn't it, where you put the IndyCar champion and the Formula One champion, a bit like kind of Damon Hill and Jack Villeneuve, although it didn't quite cross over in '96 together at Williams. To have these two four-time champions up against each other in the same team would be cool, but we don't live in a dream world, do we? So, Palou's European run didn't go well, and even his sort of run in Japan for the year he had there wasn't great and kind of got picked up by Dale Coyne. And then suddenly here he comes through at Chip Ganassi and wins all these races in the championship. So I can't imagine it's going to happen. People are also saying, well, if Palou goes to Red Bull, what does that happen? That means Yuki Tsunoda is going to come to IndyCar. Absolutely not going to happen. Not a chance. So, yeah, I think this one's dead in the water quite early on. Colton had to go into F2 to get the points would seem strange when we talked about Perez and Bottas at the top of the show. Let's say Perez has got a 2-year deal and Colton Herta does jump next year, gets enough points, and then they go, oh, Sergio, sorry. We've got this American guy that's got enough points to take your seat now.
Here we go again.
Here we go again with Sergio Perez. So that's exactly what he does not want. So, yeah, I think this is summertime people thinking up things when there's not a lot of racing going on. Although it's the last day of August on the weekend and the IndyCar Championship finishes, which is just still bonkers to me.
Well, I've got the perfect thing for that, with it being summertime sadness for when Perez does get fired. Kiss me hard before you go.
Well, indeed.
The Lana Del Rey for you.
Lana Del Palou.
The Lana Del Palou. Before that, a bit of a hot that isn't motorsport news. Congratulations to Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Oh,
what a wonderful engagement as well.
Well done. You've got our algorithm going there. Thanks, Josh.
Just trying to reel the Swifties in. Come on, wheel the Swifties in. Come on.
Man, I should have put Taylor Swift in the headline of this video. Just because.
Oh dear. Well, to be fair, it's going to be interesting when she's actually going to be reminded that now legally she owns part of the Alpine F1 team. There's our motorsport tie-in. Yep. Should be married to Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce owns part of Alpine. There we go. Taylor Swift.
For a driver for next season to join up with Pierre Gasly.
Get her in. She's the same height, so that might work. She's quite tall.
A good height and a good weight. She won't need any clip license points because she's got multiple number ones.
Perfect. Yeah, world champion. And
it's a love story. Just say yes.
Oh no. Oh.
Enough.
Well, look, yeah, we know all too well about that storyline, so we'll have to move on for that one as well to keep on going. Anyway, as we will move on, because we have some breaking news to bring you tonight, and I'm going to hand back over to Kobe now. So, Kobe, what's the story?
Yeah, we're just talking about Nathan Brown from IndyCar. He just dropped a scoop on us. After St. Pete, you have that long month break, until Long Beach, which has been really frustrating for the last several years in IndyCar. According to Nathan Brown's recent report, and that's gone in March of 2026. We're going to have 4 IndyCar races in 5 weeks. So that gap is gone. And the biggest news that he's reported, that IndyCar is returning to an old short oval. They're returning to Phoenix Raceway. And they're going to have but here's the thing. They're going to have a doubleheader weekend with the NASCAR Cup Series. So IndyCar and NASCAR on the same weekend at Phoenix Raceway. So that's not the full IndyCar schedule. It's not out yet. They're still putting the finishing details on that, but that's the latest reporting from Nathan Brown that IndyCar will join NASCAR at Phoenix next spring for a doubleheader race weekend. I think that's going to be really exciting.
So let me just get this straight.
Makes sense with the Truck Series being on the St. Pete weekend as well. That's all ties in together. I guess you talked about that on the show.
And also the partnership with Fox and all of that. It works out perfectly for Fox.
Yeah. So let me get this straight. You've got the F1 season starting in Australia, going over to China, then Japan, all in March. You've then got the MotoGP starting in Thailand, then going to America and going over somewhere else. Brazil, yeah.
Sebring 12 hours.
Sebring 12 hours, Rolex 24, Formula E also moving its night races around. Yeah, March is going to be fun. Well, if anybody knows me, in outside of racing life, I don't have a life in March, so I do apologise.
Well, indeed, maybe they could run a 4th car. Back to my previous IndyCar calendar comment. If we're going to have 4 races in 5 weeks in March, the season will be finished by the end of July. Well, indeed. It'll have even longer. It'll have a Formula E style off season. We'll wait and see.
He speaks. No words from Josh.
In 20 years of broadcasting, I've never been speechless before, and I cannot believe that.
I've done it. I've cracked him. Hopefully, we'll get the calendar over the weekend.
I'm not. Oh,
because we know Arlington's going to be.
Yeah. I can't wait for that one. Arlington will be fun. Red Bull signing Alex Palou for 2026. Interesting. I say this once, Max Verstappen teammate. Yeah, don't go to team. Yeah, stay in IndyCar. Stay in IndyCar. So, while I go contemplate needing to clone myself for March, let's go over to Matt White with the latest Marguerite EPI update, which, by the sounds of it, is also going to be very busy in March next year as well.
Sounds like it. While you clone yourself for the future, the EPI will go back in time because we are a week delayed with our EPI, the Grid Endurance Performance Index. We'll go back to, not this weekend just gone, the weekend before, where we had a couple of races on, and it takes us to 99 out of the 157. There's the top 10. It's unchanged from these races that happened at the weekend. 2 weekends ago, it was the sixth round of the Nürburgring Langstrecke Series, won by the Falcon Porsche team, Klaus Bachler and Sven Muller getting the victory there at the Nordschleife. And in GT World Challenge USA at Virginia International Raceway, the first race on Saturday was actually won by a Pro-Am car, Phil Ellis and Jeff Burton getting the victory. Not that one, the other Jeff Burton getting the victory on Saturday. Kenton Cook and Colin DeFilippi were the pro winners that came second overall. And in race 2 on Sunday, Micah Stevens and Mick Grenier got the victory in race 2. We'll have a massively bumper update for you next week, because then it gives me a chance to catch up, because this weekend we had British GT at Brands Hatch, European Le Mans Series at Spa, IMSA was at VIR, there was Super GT, and that of course affects the top 10 there with the 2 championship leaders at the top of the standings, and DTM at Sachsenring. That was last weekend, so we still got that to get through. And then after that, we've got GT World Challenge Europe Endurance Cup at Nürburgring, and Okayama hosts GT World Challenge Asia. That's what's coming up this weekend. So we'll collaborate all of that into a week 22/week 23 update in the Grid Endurance Performance Index on the show next week. But there's the top 10 as it stands for the last couple of weeks. We've Shota Tsuboi at the top, splitting away from Kenta Yamashita after Super GT had their strange sprint race weekend at Fuji a couple of races ago, which is why those 2 teammates are on a different score. Top 50 has remained fairly unchanged through the races I just told you about, although Sven Muller's win does bump him up a few places in the standings there. And yeah, big weekend of EPI updates to come, and we will tell you all about what happened this weekend just gone and this weekend coming up in the EPI slot on next week's show. There is the top 50. Sven Muller up to 33rd. I think he was 47, 48 off the top of my head. So he's had a bit of a jump up to P33. And he will be in action again at the Nürburgring, but on the Grand Prix circuit this weekend in GT World Challenge Endurance Cup here in Europe. So that's the EPI update done for week number 21. And here is Kobe with the rest of the headlines from the week.
Thanks, Matt. Time for some more motorsports news from around the world. In the 2026 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series season, Cadillac Racing will become the factory team for Ram trucks. Cadillac is expected to be the only Ram team next year, with plans of fielding 5 Ram 1500s for the full season. The team will be doing a balance in that next year, representing Ram in the Truck Series while continuing its relationship with Chevrolet in the Cup and Xfinity Series. However, the team has a plan in place to keep both programs separate at their shop in Welcome, North Carolina, and protect key information, in order to keep both manufacturers happy. Ram CEO Tim Kuniskis said that they needed a partner that truly aligns with the Ram brand and embraces their unconventional approach to NASCAR, and he believes they found the perfect synergy with Cadillac to drive their last 10th culture forward. Graphic courtesy of Cadillac Racing. I know we've already talked about video games, so let's talk about some more video games. Last Saturday afternoon at Daytona International Speedway, iRacing revealed the cover for its new console racing game, NASCAR 25. The new game will see Hendrick Motorsports driver William Byron front and center, with Joe Gibbs Racing's Christopher Bell on the left and Team Penske's Ryan Blaney on the right. Featuring Byron on the cover, iRacing's first NASCAR console game is significant given his long ties to iRacing and how this platform helped him move forward from virtual to real-life racing. It's full steam ahead to Tuesday, October 14th release date, as they've released the full rosters of drivers in each series, the soundtrack, and several more screenshots with more plans in the works as we count down the days until NASCAR 25, graphic courtesy of iRacing. At age 53, 11-time Formula One Grand Prix race winner Rubens Barrichello is a NASCAR champion. Last weekend, Barrichello became a champion of the Brazil Series, which means he'll have the honor of attending the end of the year awards banquet when NASCAR honors every single one of his champions here at home and abroad. His team principal, Mauricio Ferreira, praised Barrichello for demonstrating this level of speed and consistency at his age on the road to the Brazil Series title since retiring from F1 after nearly 20 years at the pinnacle of motorsport following the 2011 season. Barrichello has kept himself busy by spending a year in IndyCar before making starts in the Rolex 24 at Daytona, 12 hours of Sebring, and 24 hours of Le Mans, plus running full-time in the Brazilian Stock Car Pro Series, where he's a two-time champion. Now NASCAR Brazil Series champion has been added to his impressive resume, graphic courtesy of the Brazil Series. Cusick Motorsports will field a two-car program next year in Indy Next. They're joining forces with HMD Motorsports in a technical alliance as HMD plans to downsize its in-house program to 4 cars in 2026. And in this collaboration, Cusick wants to bring its fresh team identity and combine it with HMD's proven technical expertise to give more options for aspiring IndyCar drivers. Cusick plans to maintain its own branding and management structure and social presence while benefiting from HMD's experience and championship winning pedigree. Team owner Don Cusick said this is a monumental step for his organization to help support a driver's career before making the jump to IndyCar, as they've built their reputation on opening doors and creating opportunities. Graphic courtesy of Cusick Motorsports. And now we end our new segment with some sad news. Toward the end of last week, legendary track promoter and recipient of the 2026 Landmark Award for Outstanding Contributions to NASCAR, Humpy Wheeler, passed away at age 86. He was well known for spending over 3 decades as general manager of Charlotte Motor Speedway, where he made a name for himself by thinking outside of the box to promote races and, more importantly, entertain the fans. And in the early 1990s, when NASCAR's All-Star race, known as the Winston, was struggling as an event, Wheeler came up with the concept of adding lights around Charlotte to host his exhibition race at night under the lights, becoming the first super speedway race to take place in darkness. Many people thought Wheeler's idea was super ambitious and didn't know how he would pull it off, but he did in spectacular fashion, as the 1992 Winston turned into one of the sport's most memorable nights, producing One Hot Night as Davey Allison and Cal Petty crashed after taking the checkered flag. He also played a key role in the Legends cars you see at the summer shootout on the front stretch at Charlotte every summer, giving young drivers opportunities to develop their skills behind the wheel and allowing veteran drivers to work on their craft or stay sharp on their day offs. If you're following, social media during the summer shootout, you might have seen, Scott McLaughlin, Bubba Wallace, and Shane Van Gisbergen running the summer shootout in those legend cars. And, that stuff would not have been possible, without Humpy Wheeler, getting this idea, put in front of everyone. It's been going on for quite many years now. And NASCAR, put out a statement, and NASCAR chairman and CEO Jim France said that Humpy Wheeler was a visionary whose name became synonymous with promotion and innovation in our sport. During his decades leading Charlotte Motor Speedway, Humpy transformed the fan experience through his creativity, bold ideas, and tireless passion. His efforts helped expand NASCAR's national footprint, cement Charlotte as a must-visit racing and entertainment complex, and recently earned him the NASCAR Hall of Fame's prestigious Landmark Award for Outstanding Contributions to NASCAR. On behalf of NASCAR and the France family, I extend my heartfelt condolences to the Wheeler family and all who were touched by his remarkable life and legacy. And then NASCAR Hall of Fame put out this comment. They're trying to pull it up bigger on my screen, so I can read it for you guys. And this is from the Hall of Fame Executive Director Winston Cayley. Said, first and foremost, on behalf of the NASCAR Hall of Fame team, I want to offer our sincere condolences to Humpy's wife, Pat, daughters Tracy and Patty, and son Trip, and the entire Wheeler family on the passing of Humpy Wheeler, the 2026 recipient of the NASCAR Hall of Fame Landmark Award. Humpy's contributions to and accomplishments in NASCAR are without parallel. The breadth and the depth of his legacy and those who he influenced, assisted, and mentored cannot be overstated. Known for his flair for the dramatic through his innovative promotions, Humpy is most recognized for his 33-year tenure as president and general manager of Charlotte Motor Speedway. He played a pivotal role in transforming the venue into a world-class facility that attracted fans from across the globe and a wide range of corporate sponsors. Among his notable achievements was spearheading the effort to light Charlotte Motor Speedway, making it the first super speedway to host night racing, frequently adding new dynamics to the sport. Humpy's visionary leadership and creativity helped shape today's fan experience through the introduction of dramatic pre-race ceremonies, Along with the development of night racing at super speedways through his innovative promotion and stunts, Wheeler's contributions expanded NASCAR's national and international presence during the 1990s and early 2000s, solidifying Charlotte as NASCAR's home for racing. Humpy was well known for mentoring and assisting hundreds, if not thousands, of people throughout the NASCAR industry. Among them were the inaugural NASCAR Hall of Famer Dale Earnhardt and Landmark Award recipient Janet Guthrie, both of whom he supported at the initial stages of their NASCAR careers. I count myself as many of the many that he mentored. His motive in helping others was always quite simply his passion and love for NASCAR and his desire to encourage others to do as he did, to leave things better than he found it. NASCAR has lost one of his true legends in growing NASCAR and the NASCAR Hall of Fame team, and I have lost a cherished friend. His legacy, influence, and legendary contributions to NASCAR will live on in our minds, our hearts, our archives, and at the NASCAR Hall of Fame forever. And that's from the Executive Director of the Hall of Fame, Winston Kelly. And on behalf of everyone here at Grid Network, we extend our deepest condolences to Humpy Wheeler's family and friends during this difficult time, and may his memory be a blessing. And graphics in this section, courtesy of NASCAR. And that's all of the news we have for tonight. And so I'm going to turn it over to Matt for Pick a Winner.
Seems like we're doing one of those segments at the end of your news segment every week at the moment, Kobe. It's horrible news about Humpy Wheeler, and hopefully next week on Grid Tonight we can get through the news segment without having to report of another of the legends of the motorsport world leaving us. Let's talk about Pick a Winner, because it is back this weekend. There is still 56 points up for grabs, so we can start bringing the red line into play here to see who can and cannot win. Mr. Matt B has now a 4-point lead on Kobe. I'm now 4 points behind him in third position, just holding off Tanner. And thank you to Tanner for stepping into my slot on the show last week. Josh is up into 9th position on 24 points. So still a chance of victory if you can wrap up all 56 points from here to the end of the season. It's unlikely, I know. It's another busy Pick a Winner weekend, and you can get involved using the hashtag Pick a Winner across all of the Grid Network TV social medias. We have the NASCAR race at Darlington, the opening round of the playoffs on Sunday night, which is also the home of the Nashville IndyCar finale. That is on Sunday, as well as the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort, F1 back after its summer break. And we are going to pick tonight the Paraguayan World Rally Championship round, which is a first, the second brand new event on the calendar for the year for WRC. And the man that's won the last two of the last 3 new events is going to be my pick for Paraguay this weekend, and that is Mr. Kalle Rovanperä. Kobe?
I think I'm going to go with Sebastian Ogier, since it looks like he's running the remainder of the season, and see if he can try to win the championship after initially starting the part-time schedule. Got a new event here, no experience from anyone, so I'm going to do the safe pick and go with Sebastian Ogier. And looking at that Pick a Winner leaderboard right there, saying Matthew Bro is starting to get a little far ahead. I wouldn't usually say this for anything else, but hey Joe, if you're watching right now, can we have a Pick a Winner playoff system? Because it might give me it might give me a chance to catch up to Matthew if he continues to do so well with Pick a Winner. Yeah, so Joe, food for thought. Think about a playoff system for Pick a Winner.
Can I go with Rovanperä as well, just to sort of have a safe bet? Because I like how I'm on 24 points, and if I can just get ahead of Joe by the end of the year, I'll be happy with an 8th place. I don't think I'm going to get JT, though, so I'm a bit disappointed about that, but I'm determined to stay ahead of Kiska.
We would be interesting with a Pick a Winner playoff, and that would mean it would be a top 16 cutoff. And who's in 16th position on the leaderboard? It's our good friend, Mr. Ben Schneider, the playoff fan. How things work out. You can get your picks in for F1, IndyCar, NASCAR, and WRC, and you need to get your WRC pick in before Friday, because that's when it starts, using the hashtag Pick a Winner across the Grid Network TV social media. Joe will probably have that post up across all of the things: Threads, Instagram, Facebook, X, Blue Sky, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, all of those things, Outlook, Alta Vista, Ask Jeeves, all of them over the next couple of days. Adam is going with Ogier. So 2 Ogier picks and 2 Rovanperä picks from the 4 of us for WRC at the weekend. Time for Hots and Knots to round out the show, which I missed being on the show as a totality last week, but I did miss doing hots and knots. And Kobe's already stolen one of my hots with his Rubens Barrichello news, because that
I did a Rubino.
super hot. Love that. Well done, Rubinho.
My hot was how good of a race we had at Daytona. I won't spoil it because I haven't seen it, but I
know the result, obviously, but
Yeah.
I thought about watching it tonight, and then time got away from me. So that's tomorrow evening's entertainment.
We close our eyes and never get away. Imagination never lets us take the bait. Is it? I can't remember how that goes. I've had a head trauma today. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, great race. MotoGP, boring. What a surprise. We can't even remember what track we were at. Hungary at Balaton Park. We'll get to that later on. Oh, great, you're watching. Hello again, everybody who's watching me. Who I've just got to text off. In all honesty, I enjoyed the Moto2, Moto3 finish at Balaton Park. I thought that was really good, really well played out, but that was mainly due to the tyres. We'll get on to knots a bit later with Balaton Park, and they are big knots as well. Hots, what else did we have over the weekend?
What else was there on the weekend? Daytona, MotoGP, as we've mentioned, BSB Cadwell, which I watched, which was hot in terms of weather and hot in terms of the crowd. Again, the bank holiday special up in Lincolnshire always turns out a show. And the
I was going to go
now because Kyle Ryder's got the lead, snatched the lead away from Brad Ray after his not good weekend. So BSB title fight's back on, which is good.
I was going to go, but unfortunately, Megan was refused. And then Maddie is on Isle of Man doing the Manx as well. And then I was going to go with somebody else, but unfortunately they had to work for 2 hours. So that was really annoying. So I just didn't go. Maybe next year, but Isle of Man is going to be hopefully good. But I'll tell you one thing. Do you know what my biggest hot of the weekend is? How insane Marc Marquez is. Like, how much? He's going to win the title in San Marino, isn't he? In front of all the Valet fans.
Yeah. We've got Barcelona next weekend and then Misano. And then we go off to the flyaways. I think potentially he still has a chance of winning it at Misano, but Alex Marquez basically has to not turn up for the next 2 races.
Oh, well, he just crash out at some point. It'll be fine.
Well, yeah, his season's gone downhill, hasn't it? He was doing really well in the spring, and then it's gone back to old Alex Marquez. But yeah, Mark is just silly. I mean, we talked about it a few times, haven't we, on the show over the last couple of years. Doors opened over the last couple of years for other people to win the championship, while Mark was all broken, busted, twisted, and all sorts of other things, and on a poor bike. They've done that. Now he's got back on the good bike. Bye-bye.
Off
45 minutes in pit lane.
I win on the bike, and the bike is all good, and I will go, and I'm all fine now. And I must admit, Mark has got his fire back. He's a bit cheekier now, and I'm liking seeing what Mark's going on to come into it. I think we're going to be in for range one.
More preferring version 2 Marquez than pre-injury version 1 Marquez, pre-COVID Marquez, let's say.
Knots.
Yes.
Get rid of Balaton Park. 3 deaths nearly happened of that run. 1 horrific crash in the Moto E for Varga. 1 a bike launching into a cameraman.
And the
third, Pol Espargaro in the main Grand Prix at the chicane, one of many, falls, and the bike and him fall right across the next half of the circuit. Oh, did I say? Paul, sorry.
Paul.
Sorry, it's a head. It's a head injury. Yeah, and Bastianini falling right in the middle. Yeah, so Bastianini falling right in the center of the circuit, going straight across the track, and everybody, thank goodness that everyone missed him. It was inches. Acosta nearly went off and hit him again. Marini went on the other side as well. I think Bagnaia was in there. It was bad. I don't get why we're racing at a kart track. It's so bad. Even the superbikes, that was a bad race.
I didn't mind the superbike races so much, but we had weather, so that made a difference. I was going to say hots to Hungarian motorsport because we've got this brand new
Must admit.
racetrack. It's not brand, it's a couple of years old now, but whatever. And they've made all that difference at the Hungary Arena, which we saw just before the F1 summer break with the new paddock and stuff. So much money being spent in Hungary, but the track is terrible. They barely get out into top gear.
And
the
speaking of that,
complex is very, very dangerous, as we saw with Quartararo diving up the inside of the sprint race. It was Binder out. No, Bastianini it was, but he only crashed himself.
My favorite bit was who was it? Simon Patterson saying Fabio Quartararo takes out Bastianini at the first corner. Bastianini then tries to get revenge on France by taking out Johann Zarco. I thought that's the line of the season. Line of the season right there. Well done. I'm struggling to think of knots because it was quite a calm weekend, wasn't it? Even
the Moto3 and Moto2 races were good. It works for smaller bikes, but not.
Yes, it does. I don't think. I'm trying to think. IndyCar. It was quite all right. IndyCar, to be fair. It was decent in Milwaukee. Yeah, that's got to be a hot. Rasmussen holding that battle with Palou and the bang was brilliant. I think I'm just getting a little bit tired of IndyCar this year. And that's my. But I share a bit of Ben Schneider's point of view on that. Is the fact is that you do get a bit disconnected this year, and predictable winner, predictable 500. Yeah, it's just I'm hoping next year will be a bit better. But we're all waiting for that new car. What's this then? I'll let you read out because my car's on here.
That's right. Adam's Hot was the Daytona Cup Series race. That was the best super speedway race with the next gen car. Cody Ware leading laps at Daytona. Parker Car, yes. Thank you, Adam, for reminding me of the man that came from the skies, or the commentary box at the top of Daytona, to jump into the Conor Zilic mobile and win on Friday night. What a cool story that was.
That's fab.
And then the Conor to come and meet up with him on the straight there at the end of the race. I mean, just everything about that was just excellent. Denver also says hot Daytona finish, and thank God a new winner in NASCAR. And Alex Bowman should buy Ryan Blaney a carton full of beers for his win for keeping him in his playoff position.
Did you see? He said with Parker, he said, "Yeah, well, just like I did here yesterday, many of the drivers going to be hoping to standing right here, right now." I was like, "Oh, brilliant! great for NBC to get to show off down there." Yeah, IndyCar announcing a new game. That's definitely a hot. I think this weekend's going to be hotter though, with so much motorsport going on as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot going on this weekend on JBM. By the way, we've got guest commentators, new format we're going to try out, and a new host debuting. So I'm not hosting qualifying. No, it's going to be quite fun. I get to take it back a little bit. I get to commentate, but I'm not hosting, so it all changes around a bit.
Yeah,
so that's going to be fun.
To the weekend, we've got, as we mentioned when we did our pick of winners, IndyCar finale, NASCAR playoff opening.
I don't sleep.
F1 back after summer break. Donington touring cars.
Oh yeah, that's going to be great. Oh, and Cookie's back. I just got to that one before we were on air. Josh Cookie's back. So that's a hot.
Yes, it's not good. So
yeah, not going to be with Dorlin. So at least Cookie's back. I think to be fair, I think Libby's pushed him back because Libby's our social media admin at touring cars. You might see her on the websites and the YouTube channels. And Cookie was interviewing some of the drivers, and he was doing such a good job. I think she felt just so she's back you go, out you go. Don't be on my social side anymore.
To use a line I keep hearing from Australian guys, which is all these racing drivers coming on and stealing our commentary jobs because they're good at racing, racing cars and doing commentary. That sounds like another one.
Yeah, I'm locking the commentary box door, to be fair. No one's coming in here.
Grand Prix, isn't it, as well, for touring cars this weekend? So
yes. Second time you've used it?
Yeah, last year they went back on it and it was good. So looking forward to that.
Sadly, not going to be in the commentary box trackside for that one because I've got to be here to do Formula One. So that's a shame. Contracts take it out.
That's winning Orange Land.
Yes, I'm going to have to wear a T-shirt. I'm incredibly. Do you want my ultimate knot? I thought, yeah, sure, I'll decorate the room. I've got time before in the week. It's been 2 days and I'm full of dust. I'm itching all over. My hands are red raw. My feet are red. I'm having to sleep on a camp bed. And my room, it got worse, man. It got worse. You've seen it after we finished the shows, and I've turned, because this is right now. I mean, I'm actually in the commentary box today, but usually it's a green screen, and I've turned it off, and the boys have seen, and it's been the bunk bed, the green screen, all that lot. That's all gone, and then the bookshelf fell down earlier, so I've had to go out and buy that. And if anybody's at home thinking, "Oh, I might just do some decorating, I might just do some DIY," don't.
So brand new show coming to JB Motorsport, Josh Birch's DIY Nightmares.
Yeah, DIY Nightmares. It's SOS. Those on 60 minutes lies. If they can do all that in 60 minutes, no. I hate it. I've made a mistake. Before coming to the commentary box, I spent an hour with Megan putting the books back on the bookshelf. Guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to put the power sockets behind the bookshelf wall for the television, because that's where it's going.
Move it forward.
Yeah. And the bed's not even up. Yeah. So I've had a really, really bad day. And I have not been, Yeah. Oh, actually, fair point, though. A friend of mine has just texted saying, "I've seen you put a bookcase up, and you can't do that in 60 minutes." That's true. Yeah, it did take a while. I couldn't read the instructions. Well, I couldn't read the instructions. It's a left side, but the left is the right, because you have to build it backwards. So it's on the front, so you have to build it back. So the left's actually the right, the right's the left. And for somebody who looks at Formula One, you might get this, Matt, and everyone watching. Your lefts and rights get confused a lot, because when you look at the car, you see it's locking up on the right-hand side for you, but for the driver, it's left-hand side. So your right and left are screwed up in your head. Oh, it's mental. Absolutely mental. Right. Should we get out of here? Because I'm being shouted at. Taking a look at our upcoming schedule, you can stay tuned for Grid Live pre-race, previewing NASCAR at Darlington, F1 at Zandvoort, and IndyCar at Nashville. Monday afternoon, the Grid Live wrap-up is going to be at noon Eastern, recapping the Cookout Southern 500, the Dutch Grand Prix rally at Prague, and we're going to have the IndyCar season finale at Nashville. Monday night Grid Encore is at 7 p.m. Eastern, recapping trucks at Darlington, Xfinity at as well, and ARCA West at Portland, ARCA National on Dirt at the D Coin State Fairgrounds, and the Indy Next season finale at Nashville. Please continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for helping us reach 1,700 subscribers. We're now inching closer to our next milestone of 2,000 subscribers. You can hit the bell icon to get notifications so you always know when we go on the air, and you can follow all of our social media platforms and visit gridnetworktv.com. Here's another friendly reminder that Joe Samaniego will be on site this weekend at Portland International Raceway, covering the NASCAR Xfinity Series and the ARCA Meadowlands Series West race as well, all throughout the weekend. Be on the lookout for our new videos uploaded to our YouTube channel and a photo gallery on our website. You can take 5 minutes to invest in the Grid Network through Patreon. You can join Colin, Mark, Deshelle, Robin, David, and Matthew, who invest each month in the Grid Network. We encourage you to join these fine folks, help us keep us on the air, and once we hit $500 per month as well, we can afford to send our team to the trackside more often and continue growing our media outlet. The link to all of that is in the video description below. If you want to make a one-time donation, you click on the Buy Me a Coffee link, get your name on the board, and invest as much as you want, and consider buying a specific on-air personality a cup of coffee, and they will thank you on the air. For Kobe Lambeth and Matt White from Grid Endurance Performance Index, I'm Joshua Birch from JB Motorsports. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm off to go do home improvement. Bye-bye.